All right. We'll get rolling here. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate you coming out to this week's DAO meeting. Um, good stuff with BIP 48 up for vote and some other good updates coming. So, without further ado, we'll kick it off. As always, we'll be keeping an eye on both the chats in the voice channel itself as well as the Barnyard chat. So, if any questions come up, feel free to drop them into either one. And yeah, we'll start working through the slides. Okay, big items up front. So BIP 48 is up for vote. So whitelisting Bean, wstETH, and migrating unripe liquidity. That includes Playflow version 1.1. Currently up for vote. So if anybody has not had a chance to go and vote yet, please go and do that now. Making our way towards quorum, but could always use the extra votes. So definitely go vote if you haven't had a chance to yet. So we got BIP 49, which is under discussion. So that's miscellaneous improvements package. Community is pretty familiar with that, but that should be going up for a vote sometime here over the next handful of days. And then Beanstalk 3 is currently in its post-audit remediation phase. So to get into projects and initiatives, not much has changed since the last meeting in terms of the funnel. In fact, I don't think there's been anything that's really changed significantly. We've got a handful of things that are kind of on the close horizon: unripe stock burn, base and stable swap, blacklist mitigation, and L2 migration. So no big changes there. Any questions or thoughts about what's on the horizon?
I guess I'll just add that the stable swap audit's going to start sometime next week. So
Nice.
That'll be necessary to whitelist some Bean stablecoin pairs.
Excellent. That's good to hear. All right. So jumping down into projects. So BIP 49, wstETH migration. Really nothing new to add here unless someone from the development team wants to mention. But yeah, if anyone has not had a chance to go and vote, please go and do that as soon as you can.
I think this one is misnumbered. I think that should be BIP 48.
You're absolutely right. That is my fault, guy. I just a fat finger on my part. I will go back through and man, it seems like every deck has one typo in it. I will go back through and renumber that as soon as we're done, and I will republish the deck. My mistake.
Almost at 50.
Almost at 50. All right. Multiflow version 1.1. Kind of coming right alongside BIP 48. And again, something that I think the community is pretty familiar with. We'll be interested to see and interested to hear any thoughts from the group here about the current basin wells and whether or not some of those pairs may be recreated with multiflow version 1.1 once it's fully available. I guess I'm under the impression that's probably likely. Certainly interested to hear anybody else's thoughts on that, though.
I guess I would defer to the people that created the wells, but I mean, there's only a couple that have any amount of liquidity, really. So switching costs are pretty low. But yeah, I feel like we should definitely add that support for attaching multiflow v1.1 to wells in the deploy at well UI, definitely.
And just so I have it right in my mind, it is not once a well is deployed, that is it, right? So in other words, if someone were to want to use version 1.1 with a similar pair, they would have to deploy a new well, correct?
That is correct. Actually, one other thing that's going to be in the stable swap audit is an upgradable well, where you can set some owner address that would be able to upgrade the well and thus, change the pump, for example. That would get around this problem that we had with multiflow v1 or the existing Bean well, where if there's a bug in the pump, now the liquidity is still stuck in the old version of multiflow. And it just so happens that we're doing this, wstETH migration, so it works out anyway, and there doesn't need to be. Well, actually, I guess there still will be liquidity in the Bean ETH well. It's just the unripe liquidity that'll be migrated. So I guess the point stands that it's unfortunate to end up in a situation where an entire liquidity migration is necessary to move to a new pump.
And like you said, since most of the existing non-Bean ETH wells don't have much liquidity in them now, easy enough to make any adjustments or prepare for the future, or however you want to frame it. But yeah, no, that the idea of an upgradable well, that's, to me, that's exciting, because yeah, just thinking about it from my perspective as a user, if I were to deploy a well, I would want the best possible versions of whatever components I can get a hold of, and yeah, to be able to do those, to make those changes without having to migrate liquidity will be definitely a nice feature to have. All right, miscellaneous improvements already mentioned, that they are in some of the final remediations, and about ready to, or I'm sorry, in discussion, and getting close, likely to having a BIP be put out for vote. Don't think we have a specific date on that yet, but it is on the short-term horizon. And again, the community is pretty familiar with the improvements that are included. Not sure if anyone wants to add any thoughts or questions, but definitely welcome to. All right, hearing none. Beanstalk 3 in remediations, and yeah, excited, Guy, to hear that Stable Swap is going to be going into audit here relatively soon. Again, we've got a long list of items in Beanstalk 3, a lot of varied improvements that are going to be coming along with that package. And again, probably not a lot that hasn't been discussed at significant length, but more than happy to open the floor up for just a moment for any thoughts or questions from the community.
I think we might gotta throw some more names on the key contributors
So,
to Beanstalk 3. I feel like it's really the whole crew at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely do that.
We should do that for next time.
I absolutely will. And in fact, well, I got to update that number anyways for that misnumbered BIP. I will add more names for Beanstalk 3 for when I send out the revised version of this deck. All right, Subgraph UI and other updates. So got a handful of notes from the team, and we'll definitely let them hop on and talk as they see fit. Groups working on preparations for a lot of the upcoming deployments. Again, things that we've been talking about: wstETH, Beanstalk 3, and potential future L2, and then lots of bug fixes to improve historical data. And again, not sure if anybody from the team wants to give any more detail, but Soil King or Space Bean, definitely feel free to hop in. Sweet Red, anybody that's on.
Yeah, so I can give some more color to some of those, at least on my end. So for like the wstETH BIP, for example, it's going to be a new well that we're going to be trading in, right? So just adding support for that new contract to all the subgraphs, and like in the Discord bot channels, so it'll pick up all of the the swaps, much like it does currently, but just kind of supporting the new ones. And then kind of the bigger thing that I've been working on is for Beanstalk 3. A lot of this stuff, kind of as you mentioned, Rex, it's a large amount of changes, and the contract storage in particular has changed quite significantly. And so a lot of those values need to be kind of reinitialized. So I've been working on, making sure we can move over everybody's balances and everybody's, their silo deposits, their plots, into what is the new format. And we'll certainly have a way for everybody to be able to verify ahead of time that was done correctly, ahead of that actually being executed. But yeah, that's been kind of a big project as well. And then with regards to the bug fixes, that's kind of an ongoing project, but some of the recent ones that we pushed that people might have noticed, and definitely shout outs to Uncool Zero on this one. We pushed a bunch of fixes to the pod marketplace, which is particularly affecting historical data displays in the market activity feed, and then on like for individual users on their own orders. There were just a few like little bugs here and there that I think at this point we've fixed just about all of them. So, but definitely if people see any issues there or otherwhere anywhere else in the UI, like, feel free to let us know and we'll take a look. But yeah, that's all I got on those items.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate it. It always makes me think of, it's those little items that I'm going to say too often go unthanked, but can really impact user experience and people's impression of a program or a protocol, or however you want to frame it. So definitely appreciate the work on some of those little detail items, especially in things like historical data that can get ignored. Was actually having kind of a similar conversation about IRL company historical data issues today, and definitely makes me appreciate the work you guys are doing on that. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I just want to
All
add
right.
on the
Yeah,
oh, sorry. I'll
go
speak
ahead.
quick.
You're
Just
good.
want to give an update on the UI side. I've just been primarily working on the wstETH migration stuff, just making sure everything is up to going to be working, listening all the stuff, and then being able to like purchase fertilizer with wstETH instead of using wETH. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that is involved, but just making sure everything is up to par, and then afterwards, moving on to miscellaneous improvements, and then also the Beanstalk 3, so that can be deployed soon.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Into the main part of the deck. Happy to open it up. Looking at the list of folks, we got folks that are pretty well in the loop right now, but if there's any questions, thoughts, extra points you'd like to make, anything this group would like to discuss, the floor is open. All right, doing one last sweep of the chats for any questions. Looks like there's nothing new. So I think that might be it for today. That was a quick and easy one. So just one more reminder, if you have not had a chance to go vote on BIP 48, go and do so as soon as you can. And I will have something on the calendar here. I'll put a few more meetings out on the calendar, probably spaced in the usual 2-week timing. And by golly, we will see everybody here around the farm. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rex.